see the live sign, Larry.
Do you still want to wait on Mike?
Maybe wait just another minute or two. It's 6:01.
Oop.
I hear die.
Yeah. She just got done eating dinner.
Well,
And then she had some peaches for dessert.
that sounds good.
She likes to take her time.
I don't blame her for that.
Larry, Cassie Patton says she's trying to join the Zoom meeting. She had to go into work, but her computer's not letting her come on. Do you see her trying anywhere?
I do not see her.
Okay.
Okay, and you don't see Mike anywhere?
Don't see Mike either.
Okay.
Kendra, is she trying to click on the Zoom line? Because I had to copy and paste it and put it in.
I'm asking her.
And put it
Hey,
in.
Larry,
Yes,
Mike said he's having trouble getting in too.
there's somebody coming in on a phone number.
I had trouble at first. It took me a couple times, but then I got it all right.
Okay, we tried it a couple of times. Alicia said she just
I don't recognize that phone number.
Who's on phone number 5169?
Not mine.
That's Mrs. Patton.
Okay.
Cassie's in.
Okay.
Did O-N or T-E? O-N or E-N?
Ian.
E-N.
Had to think what you're talking about there for a minute, Larry.
I always forget.
I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Okay, so Mike, we got everyone but Mike. He's trying to get on. I wanted a couple of our teachers to attend to give an update on remote learning.
Okay.
So I hear
Mike's-
a cat.
Yes,
Mike is trying again.
I'm trying to get it out of the office. It won't leave.
If Mike can't get in on the Zoom part, could he just dial in?
Yes.
Can someone text him that?
Lisa's talking to him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me go check. They're still working on it. So Debbie, if you want to go ahead and start, because it might take another few minutes.
Okay. I want to call to order the Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities Board meeting, September the 8th, 2020 at 6:06 PM.
Okay.
Do we need Lisa to call roll call?
Hold on, Mike. Mrs. Baker. Here. Mr. Gore. Miss Jones,
Here.
Miss Piles,
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Okay, before we go on with the adoption of agenda, I would like for us to take a moment of silence in memory and in honor of Lorena K. Hall and Steve K. Hall, who we lost this past weekend. Okay. The adoption of the agenda, has anything changed, Julie?
No.
Okay. Do you know if there are any public comments at this time, Larry?
Let me check. No, there's not.
Okay. Did everyone receive the minutes from last meeting?
Yes, I did, Debbie.
I need a motion for the approval of the August minutes.
Make the
I'll make the
motion.
motion. Oh, Steve, I'll second.
Okay, you're waiting.
Yep,
for that
I'm
one.
in.
Okay.
I'm in. Okay.
Okay, Mrs. Baker,
Alicia,
She's on mute.
Mute. You're on mute, Alicia.
we're voting on the August meeting minutes.
Sorry, I was on the thing with Lisa and I couldn't
know,
find this
sorry.
again. Yes, whatever.
Okay. Mr. Gore, do you approve the August meeting minutes?
I do.
Okay. Miss Jones,
yes.
Miss Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, there are no board committees to report. Finance and expenses, the August report, Amy.
Yes, let me get this pulled up, one moment. Okay, our general fund revenues exceed expenses by $2,780,691.57. And we've received 121.41% of budgeted revenues through August, but that is only due to the sale of the ECC building, and the revenues exceeding expenses have to do with that as well. Expenses are currently below projections, although it's a very small amount, and we should hit the projection in the next month or so. We also received this month, and you should see it in your packet, $1,927.11 expense correction for supplies that we coded as COVID. They were COVID supplies, and the auditor's office received CARES Act funding, and they reimbursed us for those expenditures. In addition to that, I've also gone onto ODE's website and submitted our budget for the CARES funding that Open Door School is receiving. On the human resources front, Shannon Allen was recalled and began work as a Secretary 3 on August 28th.
Is there any questions about the finance report? Is there a motion to approve the August financial reports?
I'll make a motion, Felicia.
I'll second it.
Miss Baker,
She's on. mute.
yes. Mr. Gore,
Yes.
Miss Jones,
Yes.
Miss Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Superintendent report?
Yes, I did submit a written report with the board packet. There was a lot of information in there. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask, but I just want to just touch real quick on the financial situation. I feel like we're in very good shape right now. And of course, some of that can be attributed, to the sale of the building, but we are holding steady. So, and like I said, if you have any questions about anything in my written report, do not hesitate to ask. I know there was a lot of information in there.
Does anyone have any questions? We were also given reports from the SSA department, Tim Sexton, the MUIs, technology, all the departments gave us reports. Does anyone have any questions about any of them? All right. Okay, old business.
Yes, we have 1 hour of board training left to complete. As you may recall, we had asked Director Davis to waive a couple of hours due to the COVID pandemic, and that was denied. So we have to get that finished. And I have Tim Sexton that will be doing another MUI update and training at the end of next month's board meeting, if that is okay. He could just, once we're finished, I don't anticipate there being anything really long, and after we're done, he can just do his piece, and it shouldn't take that long. Are you all okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. He wanted, and he's going to give updates on, like COVID and how that's impacted our numbers and so forth. So it's always a very interesting training, to shed some light on what's been going on with our investigations and MUIs. Tim's a little quiet mouse, but he does a lot of work. So we will get that done.
Okay. On to new business. 2020, 2021 Open Door School calendar revision.
Okay, Kendra,
Yes.
would you please explain that?
Yes. Okay, I hope you all have a copy in front of you. I'm going to point out the couple of changes that I made. Friday, October 9th. Normally what we've done in the past is we had parent-teacher conferences on Thursday evening, and then Friday was a half day. And we usually did some in-service training and things like that. But due to the situation that we're in, teachers said they would prefer to just work all day on Friday instead of coming in on a Thursday evening and do all their conferences in one day. So basically that's reflected for Friday, October 9th. as well as Friday, February 12th. We won't be working a Thursday evening, and we feel that we can do all the conferences that are needed, not work an evening and work a full day. The other change is Thursday, November 12th and Friday, November 13th. Prior to that, I had Monday and Tuesday, the 23rd, and that's supposed to say the 24th. Sorry about that. As in-service days, but we asked to switch because the teachers have a big conference that is throughout the whole state, as well as the United States and throughout the world, that Ocali presents, and they are doing that completely virtual this year. And those dates are November 11th, 12th, and 13th. So they asked if we could switch those in-service days so that more of our staff would be able to attend. We can set it up, and we're going to have at least 5 sessions going that staff can go, the nurse can go, OT and PT can join in, all of our aides can be a part of those sessions and get more of the benefit, and more people can benefit from the training that we would normally be able to do in the past. So that really is all of the those are the only changes that I had for the calendar. If anyone has any questions.
Kendra, if we have a graduation, do you know what day that will fall on? If we get to have one?
Yes,
Okay.
we get to have one. Let me pull up my calendar. I'm going to go out on a limb and say May 25th, because the 27th will be our last day.
Okay.
So it would be May 25th.
Okay, thank
Keeps
you.
getting later. You're welcome. It keeps getting later because I'm trying to make sure I don't coincide with anything that Collins is doing.
Okay.
And, we apologize for having to bring this back yet again, but, we're trying to work around all of this, with the conferences and with the teacher Ocali conference, and it being virtual this year. So we appreciate your flexibility.
Absolutely. My teachers and my staff really appreciate it.
Okay, can we go ahead and get a motion to approve the 2021 Open Door School calendar?
I'll make the motion, Debbie.
I'll second it. Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Gore,
Yep.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
We have another thing we wanted to talk about with the calendar. And that's why I had the teachers come tonight. We, as you may or may not know, most of the districts in Lawrence County did open 5 days, and we went back and forth and back about what decision we were going to make, and we landed on the 1 day a week. And the teachers have been working really hard to make that possible. We know we're still, we started delivering meals today, lunches. But I want to turn it over to Kendra. We're going to be asking if we can possibly look at changing what we had initially said and starting a little bit sooner. Kendra and I are going to be meeting with the superintendents in the county this Friday, and we're going to talk to them about how things are going so far, what drawbacks there are, what suggestions they have. But we wanted to lay this out to you all and get just to see if you would be willing to allow us some flexibility on starting back, between now and when we think that it would be a good time. So do you want to tell the board, Kendra, about some of your experiences so far with families.
Yeah. So last week we had individual one-on-one meetings with all of our families. And I had requested that they all bring the student with them, just so they could get back in the building. We hadn't laid eyes on them since March, just to kind of make me feel better for one. The majority of them did. There are a lot of parents, and the teachers can probably attest to this a little bit more than I can. I'm just going to put it out there that the parents are exhausted. They're exhausted. They need a break. They need the kids back in school. The kids need to be back in school. Typically, the 9 weeks would be over around the 22nd of October. I would like to kind of monitor. I mean, and I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here because we haven't even had our first 1 day with face-to-face kids yet. That'll start tomorrow. But I would like to look at, if everything goes well the next couple of weeks, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that the best plan is for them to come back 5 days a week. I would like to start that the week of September 28th, if not the week of October 5th at the latest. I got a lot of reasons that I can give you to why that's best. I have a lot of reasons, I have a lot of ideas. One thing I think that all of you would be interested in, are they going to be able to keep a 6-foot distance? Physical space, absolutely. But when you talk about our population, those kids are going to get up. They're going to get up. They're going to go into someone else's space. A lot of them are not required to wear masks. All that's going to be done is going to be redirection, and it's going to be a teaching process. With the remote learning, we've probably got 8 or 9 that are doing virtual. They've already said they're doing virtual all year long. Some of them are. Some of them are just going to play it by ear. But with those 8 to 9, that there'll be no more than 6 kids in any one classroom if we come back all 5 days. You're gonna have trials. We kind of have to play it out. I've talked with my teachers. They all, no one wants to say, yes, we for sure can do this without even trying it first. I wanted to have this conversation with you so that if we realize we can do it, that we can go ahead and move forward and start the process. We wouldn't have to have a special board meeting. But I would like to, try to answer your questions, any concerns that you have, and hopefully Brenda Willis and Cassie Patton are both on here and kind of can give you some feedback as well. I mean, I have a whole list of things I could share, but I'd rather just kind of answer your questions or what concerns you all might have.
From a social work perspective, I would love to see them back in there 5 days a week for a variety of reasons also. I guess at the same time, trying to be a little cautious in that, maybe having a plan that if they're at a certain percentage, if you start to see cases, kids coming in with it or coming down with it, whatever, that at some percentage, then we say, okay, we'll go back to virtual. Basically like the schools do with the flu.
Right.
But I'm in great support of trying it.
We would follow the health department on that. I mean, because if we do get a positive case, that's when the health department comes in. They're going to do all the questioning and who they've been around. I mean, we've got it down to there's certain bathrooms for certain kids. There's certain bathrooms that staff use, where they can be, where they can't be. And it's the same people that are with the same kids. But all of that will still follow in our remote plan, in our opening back up plan that we presented to you back the 1st of August. But all of that would be, I mean, if you have 4 or 5 people that have, contract COVID or whatever, depending on who all they've been around, that may wipe us out right there. It might not even be a percentage point. It just might be how many staff is that going to include as well.
And these last couple weeks, I mean, ever since the site's been back, they've been learning, how to teach remote and learning programs. So I think that they are a lot more confident now. If we need to, well, we're going to have to do it anyway for some students, but I think if we had to do it, I think they're ready, more so than they would have been if we would have just started school with everyone else.
Right. And we the thing of it is we started remote today, and even in the best circumstances that we had Google Classroom up and running, which we are working diligently to get that going, these kids just aren't getting it. This is not to their benefit. You have parents that are we're relying too much on the parent who's already burnt out and exhausted and everything else that I can't even probably imagine. And then trying all of a sudden to just start working with them and actually doing schoolwork. They're not getting anything. They're not getting anything. There's probably a handful that their parents have been priming them for this and are really going to sit down and work with them. But some of these parents just, or they're not even answering the phone. We're not even able to get through to them. You've got kids that you handed them out packets last week and said, okay, we're going to call you next week and go over it. They've either lost the packet, they've, dumped it and it's not in order and the kid doesn't know what worksheet they're talking about, or they've already done it. They've worked through and put something on every single page and, without having that virtual piece that we can actually see them yet, it's just, it's just hard. And I'm not gonna lie, they're breaking my heart. I mean, they need to be there.
How do the kids get to school? Will they be riding a bus then?
Right now, even the ones that are coming 1 day a week, the only ones that actually have buses is Ironton, South Point, and Chesapeake. The rest of them, the majority of our parents are transporting. And those numbers, actually, from what I'm understanding from where I talked to teachers today, for the ones that have actually asked their parents how they feel about 5 days a week, there's only 2 that I'm aware of that said, no, they don't want to come 5 days a week. The majority of them are ready and willing to come 5 days. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk with the superintendents about as well on Friday is, are you all ready, or can you be ready by the end of October or end of September, 1st of October, to have a bus come 5 days a week? Because right now it's just one.
Do they ride
them
with other students from those prospective schools to get to our school?
No.
So it's a designated bus just for our students?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if either of my teachers want to chime in or if anyone wants to ask a question to one of my teachers.
Kendra, I'll chime in. This is Mrs. Patton. I think we can do this, and I think we can do this safely. I feel like the remote learning is not meeting the needs of our students. If we have to do it, we have to do it. But I just feel like there are so many students with our population of students. I just feel like we are doing a disservice if we don't offer the 5 days a week in person. And if they choose not to do that and they choose to do all online, then we will do that, and we will do that to the best of our abilities. But I feel like we need the other option for some of the students as well, because we're relying heavily on parents who work, on parents who have spent, day in and day out with their children since since March, and that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. Like Kendra said, they're burnout and they need that break. And for some of them, school is their break. And I think we have a plan in place to do this safely and effectively.
Do
They've
all,
been working really hard. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie.
go ahead.
I was just going to add, with the CARES Act funding, Jeff was able to purchase, are they lights, Kendra? Lights that he's installing that kills viruses?
I don't, it's a light that's on the HVAC system.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've tried to invest the CARES Act funding into, permanent fixtures that's going to help us manage all illnesses that are within the facility. So
We also have the plexiglass student dividers that each student has their own. So as they're sitting at a table, there's still a plexiglass divider that will give, depending on the student, even the teachers, some extra layer of protection as far as working with them, as far as coughing if they can't wear a mask. Obviously those are for the students that will stay in their seats. We do have a few that won't, but we'll work with that.
Do all the teachers feel the same way as Cassie? Brenda, do you feel the same way?
Well, I spoke with Kendra earlier today. I have to say I'm conflicted. Certainly, I know that we're not only dealing with students from one district, but we touch every district in the county. And I know how fast whatever is going around goes through our school. With that being said, even with just one day of remote instruction, I had one student that he had great support at home. We got through all of his goals and he did really, really well. The parent was saying, okay, if you can't do Google today, do you want to do Zoom? I'll do whatever you want to do. I had another parent that we made it about 10 minutes into a phone call. She told me why it wasn't going to work because she doesn't believe it will work. I don't believe that student gets anything at home. And I know there are several of my students that are really not getting anything at home. So on one hand, I want to give our students the absolute best we can give them, which would be 5 days. On the other hand, even with the measures that we have in place, I'm concerned. I'm concerned for my students and I'm concerned for our staff. I don't know that there's a good answer, but I do know that our students probably aren't getting what they need at home right now.
Are all the teachers doing the precautions, Kendra, the masks and whatever they're supposed to be doing around the students?
Yes, they have the mask, they have the shields, they have all the cleaning supplies within their room. They have the option. I mean, if they even feel better, if they would wear gloves, they have gloves that they can wear. And what I would say, anyone that I've talked to about, we want to get back as soon as possible. They all want that. The staff want the kids to be back, but they all have that little bit of, they all have the same concerns that Brenda do. I mean, it's again, we're still at that, it's a no-win situation, but for everything that's going on right now, for me, in my heart of hearts, I believe it's the right decision.
Does anyone else have any questions for Kendra and Cassie and Brenda?
I don't have any questions, Debbie, but I do agree with Kendra and the teachers that I don't believe our students will receive the type of needed help and education at home, with their education at home, like they will in our school.
Oh, I totally agree with that too.
You
I
can
think-
be as cautious as you want to be. I run a business and I know how that is. I know the concerns every day that I open up. But you just have to continue to sanitize and clean and wear a mask and be as cautious as you can be. But I do believe our students would do better back in the classroom. And instead of waiting until October, I would start with September 28th. If we
I mean,
can.
I'm in agreement with that. We need to do the best we can do for our students.
So unless there would be something, could the board do could we do a vote? Just so we have it on record that unless there's something we find out about on Friday, or unless there's some big outbreak between now and then, that the plan will be that we'll reopen on September 28th.
Do we need to do it like a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to give Kendra and Julie the flexibility to open up open door school 5 days a week.
On September 28th.
Starting September 28th.
Unless, you know, there's an extenuating circumstance, like a big outbreak or something like that.
Okay.
But if everything stays the way it is, we would like to be able to do that.
Will you
I'll
have
make the
some type of, will you have some
Oh.
type of contingency plan in place on, say, 1 or 2 kids come down with COVID or a staff member? I think, I'm for the motion, but I think we should also have in the motion a stopping gap in case something does happen.
Right.
Yes.
And that's where, like I said earlier, as soon as there is one case, that's when the health department steps in, and she's going to say whether, when that is and how many people it's affected, who has to be on quarantine. And obviously, if we have to quarantine several of our staff, that's gonna make our decision as to if we're gonna have to go back remote, if we go back totally remote, or if they're gonna come back. All of those are in our earlier plan.
Yeah, it's in our reopening plan.
Yeah.
Because we were going to reevaluate it near the middle of October.
Right.
Now we're saying that they can go back, have the flexibility to go back on the 28th if everything stays the way it is.
Right.
My only other question is, one of the reasons we went to online the first 9-week period was for the training for the teachers to be adept at it and smooth at it. Now, by quitting on September 28th, will our staff still be gained the knowledge they need to in case we have to flip back?
Yes, they're currently trained. That'll give us time to even build more content in, because we still have, even with opening up on the 28th, we still have about 8 to 10 students that want to stay virtual. So they're still going to have to be doing that virtual piece.
And how long have they been back already?
Technically, they've been back today.
Wow.
No, I mean the teachers.
Oh, the teachers have been there for 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've already been there 3 weeks without kids.
And learning how to do this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And trust me, it is a moving. Well, what did Larry say? We're building it as we're flying it. It's like a plane. You're building a plane at the same time you're flying it. And there's always things that we're going to have to update. But as long as we have families that want that remote, they're always still going to be continuing to do that, as well as the face-to-face.
And it's only the 8th, so we still have 3 weeks
We do. And I do want you to know, like after tomorrow and after Thursday, I plan on meeting with staff and we're going to talk about what worked, what didn't work, what we need to change, what we need to do this. And it's all of those meetings are going to be focused on, we have to get this right so we can open on the 28th. If we can't get it right and I'm not comfortable, I won't have the suggestion to open.
Okay.
I'll make the second to the motion then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Who was the first to make the motion?
Me.
Okay, thanks, Lou.
The only other thing I would mention is I would highly discourage the gloves because you actually cross-contaminate everything. You're actually safer to just use good hand washing technique and hand sanitizer, but the gloves really are not a good idea.
Okay.
I agree with Alicia. I read 2 articles on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
There'll be lots of breaks for hand washing. Students, staff, everybody, lots of breaks.
Thank you.
Teach them to sing the happy birthday song, and that's how long you wash your hands.
Yes, Nurse Jenny's already done that. It's like,
Okay.
yes, we're on that. It's always somebody's birthday at Open Door.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Gore,
Yep.
Miss Jones,
Yes.
Miss Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Policy number 5.08.
So this is another COVID policy that we have to have. You'll be seeing a lot of these, I'm sure. Last week was the mask or face covering policy. Last month was face covering, and this month is the home visit. So where this originated is early intervention. As you know, they used to do all their work in home. And so they have had to go remote, virtual. But as time goes on, there comes a time when they really need to see, and this isn't just us, it's across the state, where as professionals, they feel they need to see the kids. Sometimes it's really hard doing these phone calls or even on a computer if there's a top, because you're talking about kids 0 to 3. And so before we could do any type of home visiting, like even porch visits, that's something going on across the state where, you might go to someone's house, but you stay outside and they bring the child outside and so forth. Before we can do anything like that, we had to have a policy in place. And so what I did is I took the recommendations and the guidance from the EI world and just made a global policy that would be applicable for our adult programs as well, like through the SSAs. So this just gives like minimum guidelines that will be in place before any of our staff do any kind of in-home or in-person, doesn't have to necessarily be in-home, but in-person visit during the pandemic. And then each department, EI and SSA, will need to develop their own procedures to drill down even into more detail. But we can't do anything until we've adopted a general policy about what our stance is on in-person, in-home visits. And I can tell you that this would not be a license to just start doing all home visits again. But it would give us the flexibility. It would give each department the flexibility to use their own judgment on when they feel that they need to have some kind of eyes-on contact with someone that they're serving, because it's been since March. So it's a long time. And like I said, this was sent out, all of the guidance was sent out through the Ohio Department of DD. So I just, and I've numbered it 508. It'll go in our health and safety policies right next to the facial covering policy, 507.
Is there a motion to approve policy 5.08, safe home visits?
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Gore,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Okay, the revised.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Julie. The revised table of organization.
Okay, so I have a new proposal for early intervention, and I did send this out in an email, and I spoke to several of you about Jamie Garnes taking on early intervention. She actually, that was her first job here at DD. Jamie started in early intervention. She has a master's degree, I believe, in early childhood, Jamie. Early childhood development.
Child development and family relations.
Yes. So she feels confident that she can provide the leadership to the early intervention team. They are now physically located in the same building, in the same area. Now that they're not at the ECC. But in order to do that, we have to move the staff under Jamie. And I just want to remind everyone that she does have a lead SSA, that's, well, not a lead, a SSA manager now, who actually supervises several of the staff members in the SSA department with Jamie or for Jamie. So I feel like this would be a good move for our early intervention department. They need consistent leadership, and Jamie has proven to be a phenomenal leader, and she's extremely knowledgeable. And I recommend that we move the staff under her. And I'm going to also ask that we change her title to Director of SSA and Early Intervention. So Jamie's here in case anyone has any questions. Fire away.
I just have a quick question because I don't fully know how licenses and stuff work with DD, but is there any requirements for licensure when it comes to supervision and stuff, like the lead, whoever you got as the lead, taking on additional responsibilities doing that? Do they have everything they need to have to do that legally?
You want to go?
There are two certifications that I will have to get through the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities, the Early Intervention Supervisor and the Early Intervention Service Coordinator, which I'm able to apply for both of those. There are some trainings that I have to take, but they're all online. But in terms of the degree and everything, I have the qualifications to apply for them once I complete the required trainings.
How about the lead that's going to do more supervisory duties with the SSAs?
That's not going to happen now. This is going to happen instead of that.
No,
Okay.
I think she's talking about Erin's job.
Okay.
Does Erin have to have any special license?
That's it. Erin has had that position for a couple years now, so she already has the required certification for the SSA supervisor.
Okay, thanks.
Were you talking about her manager over SSAs? Is that correct, Alicia?
Yes,
Okay.
because I thought someone mentioned they were going to take on a little bit more of a leadership role to free her up to do the early intervention.
Erin had already been doing that we've kind of, that position has evolved over the last 2 years. That's taken some of my responsibilities that I feel like has given me some more time to be able to work with early intervention.
Alicia, also, just so you know, we do have a contract in place with Scioto County right now until Jamie gets all her certifications. They are actually providing the certification for our program through their director there. So she's providing the professional development. I'm actually doing the day-to-day work, and I have been since Sue Vanderhoof retired. So it is doable. I believe that Jamie can do it, no problem. She just needs to get her. She just needs to get her certification.
Yeah, I don't doubt that she can do it. I just want to make sure we do it legally.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and I understand that. And that's why I have the agreement in place with Scioto County until she gets her certifications. And no, I wasn't. I was just alluding to maybe you being concerned about her having the time, but I do believe that that she'll be able to manage it, because like I said, I'm doing it now. And it probably not to the degree it should be done. And Jamie will be able to spend a lot more time with it, I believe. So, because it's an important program. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussions? Well, I need a motion to approve the revised table of organization.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Thanks, both of you.
Ms. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Gore,
Mike, you're muted.
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I appreciate Brenda and Cassie being with us tonight. Thank you so much. We need to go into executive session. Per ORC 121.22 G3, pending or imminent court action, and to meet with an attorney, and for ORC 121.22 G1, to consider the appointment, employment, compensation, and discipline of a public employee.
Brad,
Thank you for allowing us to speak. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm out.
Bye, Kendra. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
I need a motion to go into executive session for those reasons.
I'll do it, Debbie.
Second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Gore,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Is Brad coming on, Julie?
Yes. Is Amy still here?
Yes.
Yep, I see Amy. Never mind. Okay. Hi, Amy.
She's
Sorry.
She's just so quiet.
Soon
I
as we-
know.
As soon as we get Brad on, I'll create the breakout room and throw everybody in it.
Okay, are we,
You're still live.
online? Okay,
Yes.
so you did both executive sessions, right, Debbie?
I read them both.
Okay.
I hope that was okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Okay.
Okay.
Larry's finishing the plane.
I think he forgot the wheels and we're just circling now.
Yeah.
I got it. Have a good evening.
Here he is. Admitting him. Okay, I'm going to create the breakout room now. Well, as soon as he's connected. Hold on. Yeah. Here we go.
I feel
Everybody
like
hear
I'm
me?
on Star Trek. Yes, we're going to the breakout room.
Okay.
Larry's gonna beam us.
Okay, sounds good.
He's bringing the coffee.
Not me.